thing is with submitting, a while ago, someone asked me, before I got married, me and Kenny had just started dating, maybe like the first year we were dating, she asked me, was it hard for me to submit? And I'm like, ma'am, I don't have to submit. I'm a girlfriend. Like, she was married. I'm like, I don't have to submit, you know? I didn't understand. I didn't quite understand the question either until I got married. I understood the meaning of submitting. And I think our generation they don't really know the real meaning of submitting. They think is, you know, cooking dinner, and you know, it's so much bigger than that, and it's deeper than just, you know, the things that they think it is. So my question is, do you find it hard to submit as a wife? Did you find it hard? Do you find it hard? And what's hard about submitting? Because I think that when you're with somebody and you love somebody and that husband is a hard worker, you don't have a problem with submitting. You don't have a problem with letting him lead and you know, follow it. You know what I mean? So that's my question. Do you ladies find it hard to submit? Was it hard?
I feel like submission is, I mean, to each his own. To every relationship, I feel like that's different. I feel like it depends on the kind of husband you have and the way you were raised. For me, that's a big thing. I saw submission with my great-grandparents, but after that, nothing else. My mother did not submit to my dad, and my grandfather died when before I was born, so I didn't see their marriage submission. And I mean, my grandmother made breakfast, lunch, and dinner for my grandfather. You know, she made a dessert every day, and she cooked Sunday dinners for the entire family. And she made sure my grandfather had the first plate. She made sure he was okay, everything like that. So even though I didn't see that in the marriages of my mother or some of the other marriages while I was growing up, those had a lasting impression on me. And so when I got married, it was a big thing. My sister always would ask Bub, like, how'd you get Deanna to start submitting to you? Because she has always been her own woman, and like, she's very vocal and she does things how she wants to do them all the time. And I was like, because I respect him. And he's a good provider, and he makes me feel protected, and we have a partnership. And so it's just different. It's not the old school submitting that people think of, you know, where you just slaving over dinner every day. You got the cast irons out, and you are ironing his drawers. And no, it's just the respect that we have for each other. And so I allow him to lead because that's what I want. I want my husband to lead me in certain things. And then he allows me to lead in certain things as well. So
just to piggyback on what you said, we don't use the word submit. I don't like the word submit. I just feel like it's just taboo. It's like I'm a slave or something. So we don't use that word. But just like you said, it's just all about respect, you know. So I know, you know, the things that, you know, what we do. We just fellowship with each other. You know, we just, each other's help me. So that's just more so how I view submission. It was way back, you know, especially the beginning. I would hear the word and I'm just like, submit. And I had in my head that I had to do all this stuff. Yeah. And then, you know, once we just pretty much just let everything just flow, it just was natural. It just became, you know, easy. So, and then that show we don't use it.
So I think in the beginning of our marriage, at least I struggled with it, but it was a role change for me, right? So I was raised to be that kind of strong Black woman, take care of yourself, you don't need no man for nothing type of role. And so when I got married, it was more so, okay, you have someone that is leading you, you have someone that you're doing stuff for. And so I struggled a little bit, but now that we've been married for 4 or 5 years, I've gotten to the point where, like you said, it's almost about teamwork. It's about respect. There are certain things where I want him to lead, but then there are certain things where he knows, okay, this is Camille, she gonna take this, she gonna own this. I'm just gonna sit back and be in the passenger seat. So I agree with you though. I don't like the word submission. It is kind of that, you know, 1950s type of female role, but we had to grow on ours.
But you know what? I think that with this, I think that it's a few people, a lot of people who may think back to the, cast iron or the 1950 roles. But what I see on like social media of people definition of submitting is like, what are you talking about? And I think people really don't understand. I've seen like memes of like, people saying, like I know you guys have seen this meme of who gets the plate first. That is like the biggest argument on Facebook. Like, who gets the plate first, your husband or the kids? And you have women that's like, ain't nobody eating for my kids.
To me personally, it's not even that serious.
It's not even that
serious. Because as a man, from a man perspective, right? If you're the man in the house, you always want to be the last person. Yeah. You want to make sure the wife and kids are good. Like, I want to eat last. I don't like, and for us, we don't look at it like, because to me, I would feel bad if I'm eating and my kids are waiting to eat.
Yeah.
As a man.
Yeah.
So,
especially as a man, he as soon as you get your plate, he gonna run up to you.
And you trying to get and he trying to get your grub too. So I mean,
at the end of the day, I think a lot of people don't understand that it's like a new generation going on, and sometimes we be getting taught, or we was taught so much as far as how it's supposed to go the old school way. But we living in a different time now, but it's just not, push everything on this woman and make her do everything. A lot of it come from back then too, though, because I ain't gonna say it wasn't as difficult, but even financially wise, like, it was a little bit easier.
I think that expectations changed also.
Yeah.
With this generation, baby boomers, the thing of independence, self-independence became, such a big thing. So then you have the self-independence where, like she said, she was raised to be a strong black woman, you don't need a man and stuff like that. And when you think about it, being raised from birth to whatever age you get married, and then now you have to like do the opposite of that. So it's gonna take some time and it's gonna whatever, but like you said, for us, we're all about teamwork. At the end of the day, mission, what's to get the mission done? It doesn't matter, and because the mission changed. Again, sometimes she's gonna be the leader, sometimes I gotta be the leader. Based on the situation.
And I think we appreciate that too. For us to like you consider us, like, when you marry, you really can't make decisions on your own. Everything has to be talked about, asked, before you make a certain purchase. A lot of things has to be discussed before you make that move. So I love it when he considered me to be like, babe, I appreciate that,
So submission, right? I feel like a lot of it is based on like, preconceived roles and stuff like that. So how you guys feel about like gender roles within you guys' marriage?
I think there is no gender role, because at times, life happens. It might be to the point where you're the provider at that sole moment, and then life happens, and then your job digresses, and then your pay digresses as well, and then now she becomes the breadwinner, and then she's in charge of taking up more so of the bills. Or like for myself, I know a while ago I used to cook a lot. I cooked a lot, maybe at least 4 or 5 times a week, and I broke my foot. So once I broke my foot, I couldn't even stand up to even make a meal. So she pretty much had to iron clothes, take me to work, and everything. And she saw how that difference in me became what she needed to step up for. And so once that moment kind of like transpired, I think the gender roles of us just kind of like depleted. And it was just like, okay, I'm just going to take to what I need to do. So I think with gender roles, it's just all about, the comfortability of your marriage, what you guys have established, and just, if you see a need to be done, just fit it and get it done.
So I agree, but then I disagree in some cases. Only reason why I say I disagree is because when it comes to household stuff, there are certain things that I expect him to always take care of. At the end of the day, right? The house needs to be locked down. I expect him to come, check all the doors, make sure, make sure all that's done, right? If it's getting cold out and something's going on with the furnace, I'm expecting him to make sure we're prepared, and then vice versa. My role is to make sure the house is a home, right? To make sure, that that love feelings in there. It's, clean and all that good stuff. I'm not saying you can't wash your dish
Okay.
every now and then, but you know what I mean? Like,
But
overall.
for us, we have this thing. If one person cook, the other person do the dishes.
Yeah.
So if she cook, automatically I'll clean up the kitchen after,
Yeah.
and vice versa.
Who you hear that?
I think you just hit the nail on the head, both of you. Gender roles are different for every household.
Yes,
so
it
for
is.
your marriage,
That works
yes.
perfect.
For me, I'm not taking out the trash in my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
That's just a rule
I
for me
think-
too. No, I get what
When
you're
I brought
saying.
that foot,
But yeah.
But there's other roles where, okay, like she hate folding clothes,
Me too.
but she love doing laundry. I hate doing laundry, but I'm okay folding clothes.
Balance. It's all about balance.
So,
Yes.
because for me, folding clothes is just watching the game and I'm folding. So,
exactly.
hey, do laundry, I'll fold.
That's gratitude.
And
though.
so-
That's-
and so-
we don't fold at all.
I can't do it no more.
But we learned early, like, that worked for us. And you know what I'm saying? And like, for me, I didn't grow up seeing that. I grew up seeing my grandma, my aunt, all the females, they were the one doing laundry
Yeah.
and folding clothes. So but for me, again, for us, prior to getting married, we just like, hey, we just want to forget what we've been brainwashed all our life. We got to figure out what works best for us. So, and that's why there are gender roles, but then there aren't.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I could say that too, to piggyback off what you said. That like even like as far as us like growing up as men, even with our like mothers, we seen like a lot of the stuff that they was doing, and kind of like to even go into that, they kind of didn't go into all type of gender roles and anything like that because they did anything and everything that they needed to do in order to keep the household functioning. So we as men seeing our mothers do that, we kind of, it's instilled in our mind like, okay, this needs to get done in the house, whether regardless she got time to do it. If she don't got time to do it, I got to take over. Like if I seen she cook for 2 straight days or whatever, and then I see dishes in the sink, I have to clean. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't have no problem with doing it, but a lot of people be looking at it like, oh, your man coming home and he had a
Oh,
hard
that's
day at
my
work.
mom. Oh my God.
And you making him clean dishes and all that.
Oh my God.
To me personally, it's not even about that. It's just about if I see this not done, I'm gonna do it because I know eventually it gotta get done. Period. So I'm not.
So, babe, why you don't tell my mom that? Because when she come over and she like, girl, you ain't got no food prepared. He like, no, Mama Tina, she don't have no food. And that's a attack on me. But this how you really feel. So why don't you?
No, because that's my routine. You know?
He helps out a lot, especially with the baby, with the kids, like period. He helps out a lot. So I probably will lose my mind. That's why it's hard to think of a third because I would probably lose my mind if I didn't have his help when it came to all these kids we got.
With kids too, though, is because like even with women, like you see them kind of breaking down at some point when they have kids, when they be having the kids out there. Especially her, like she be at home all day with the kids. So she asked me one day too, like, man, so if we reverse the roles with you, I'm like, man, don't even think about that. Like, I would not be around. It takes a lot of patience to deal with that. So it's when you see her going through her little phase and like you can see it, like you know when your wife is off. Like you just know it, like something ain't clicking or something ain't right. Like her vibe off. I walk in the house, she's silent. No, something ain't right. So when you see that, like you gotta step in and take over responsibilities, even for an hour or two. Like that do her justice.
My wife, we have 4 boys, so I kind of took more so on that role, on that nurturing side with the boys, opposed to how women usually do, raising young boys or girls. Emotionally, us men, we grow up emotionally unstable. We don't know how to release, how to express our feelings and stuff like that. So I know I like that big time. Me not having my father growing up, and that's for most people, period. Got your mother that's gonna raise you, then child care's gonna be a woman, preschool, kindergarten. You usually don't see a man probably to kindergarten. I mean, not to kindergarten, to high school later on in years, stuff like that, sports, your basketball coach, whatever. But that's the only time we had that male relationship, the coach relationship, anything. So emotionally, I be that support to my boys early on. hey, talk to me, and I read to him and different things. I take that role off of her, even with the baby boy. So she don't, believe it or not, our boys hurt, sick, whatever. Not take anything away from my wife. They look for dad. You know what I'm saying?
Our 3-year-old was in the hospital for a week. He was sick not too long ago, and he just had the conversation with me the other day and was recapping his hospital stay. And he was like, and my dad stayed with me. And I was like, well, mommy didn't stay with you. But he didn't even mention me. It was I just left it there.
So it's crazy to talk about that because we were just talking about this. So it's he knows what to come to. For me, it's the playing rough because how we play. He doesn't play with that worker, but the minute he is sick or he not feeling well, he wants her. Yeah. And with me, it's the turn up, make noise. But the minute he's not feeling well, if I hold him and she walk in the room, he wants her, and I'm okay with it because I know that's what she loves.
Yeah.
Anything happening and I hold him, I'm just relax, and then they sell me out.
Because we already programmed in our heads to raise our boys rough, I ain't gonna say beat them, but you know what I'm saying. I got a daughter, so I show her a little bit more affection than I do Ryan, because it feel you gotta give that boy so much tough love, but because that's how we was brought up. But at the end of the day, that's how some of us are so messed up mentally now, because we was already raised to be so tough and don't show your emotions and don't express this and don't talk about this. Just suck it in, be a man, and just grow up.
But that affects you as you get older. You've been sucking it up for so long. Yeah. By the time you hit them 25s and 30s, life just smack you. Now it's you just everything happens.
Everything. No clue how to deal with real conflict.
Exactly. So that's why I kind of got more so in tune with that with my boys. Once I found that out, how emotionally, how we grow up from conception to about the age of 7, and had a show in our physical lives once we experience our relationship. Everything will show, whether it's a job, relationship, career, personally, whatever. It's gonna show out how you would develop emotionally. You know what I'm saying? How you dealt with love. Was it shown to you? Was it taken away? Whether it's abandoned, anything. All those things will show out in your relationship. So, for me to try to help them out and avoid what I went through, and how to figure out things, because there's no archetype of no perfect relationship or how to fall in love. We got our grandparents, what the church will tell us, and all that stuff. And nobody can tell you that. So that's why I took submission wrong. Submission was all jacked up with me.
What you mean submit?
Realize what actually how to love each other. 2 whole people come together. You know what I'm saying? Help each other grow, elevate. You know what I'm saying? And I know 50-50, and I know you do this and that. She gave me her all to help me grow, and I do the same thing with her. So we just elevate each other. We go grow with each other. That's the right plan for us. You know what I'm saying?
That works. And just like you said, for us that too, because if he cries in the middle of the night, Camille would get up because I would normally leave early for work. But so for me, I was you know what? I always get him ready for bed. Right. So showering, and everything. That does kind of work, perfect. And she get her time to watch her little Scandal. It's just me and him, till he falls asleep. But that works for us, and so it's like you said, it's just unconscious. You don't even think about it anymore. You just know.
So when you say you give her that time to watch her Scandal and everything like that, how important is me time in your, in each one of y'all marriages?
Do that go both ways?
Yes.
Me time,
both.
Your way,
and honestly, I get it. So how important is me time? And then it's too much. Is it a such thing as too much me time? So for an example, we still trying to figure out me time. I know I am. I'm still trying to figure out. I think we get caught up. I'll speak for me because I don't know. I know I get caught up in being the wife, being the mother, that I don't fit in that that time where I can just hang with the girls or even just alone, you know, to just get myself right. And then here I am losing my mind, running through the house, pulling my hair out because I haven't had any time to myself in months, you know. And then not even just me time together. How do you make that balance, that time for your husband or your wife when you have kids and work and responsibilities? Like, how do you make that work? Because we're still trying to balance that time with one another. We cannot be consistent for nothing in the world with date night. Like, I don't know if that's something that's just easy with y'all.
I don't think so. Like, I don't think there is a one answer and stuff like that, because like what was saying earlier, like life happens and it's gonna hard to find consistency, especially when you have kids and the kids are not consistent. Mm-hmm. And so it's just trying to do your best, because like you said you fail with date night. That's something we try, and it's just hard to be consistent because either she get wrapped up with work or tired, or he's sick, or I'm wrapped up with work and tired, and the weekend we I have my military stuff to do, so we always have stuff to do. As far as, you know, lovey-dovey time, mom and dad time, try to get in bed early and stuff like that. So it's just trying your best to figure it out. They said some months are better than some, but you know, we just try to put the effort and try.
I think that, so we don't have any kids yet, so me time is hard for us too, even though we don't have children.
Take advantage of this time.
But I say because our work schedules are completely different. We're like two shifts passing in the night. So he works mornings and I work evenings. By the time I get home, he's asleep. Or he's barely hanging on. You know, he's trying to stay up for me so we can talk about my day at work. But for him, in the middle, when he's almost off work, he can talk to me on my commute to work, which I don't necessarily like, because I like to ride in silence. I like to ride in silence when I come home too, just because it gives me some time to collect my thoughts, and I don't bring work home with me. You know, working in my job is very stressful, and so I take a lot of the stories that we do home with me sometimes because they're real traumatic. And so one thing he always promised that we wouldn't bring work home, you know, because, and I can't help it, sometimes I do have just one story I got to talk to him about. But I think that me time is you grab it when you can. Because as adults, I mean, you have so many things going on. You might be not only work, you might be a mentor, you might be in an organization, you might have all these different responsibilities that you have going on too. So it's not always going to be a select time every day at 7 o'clock. That's my me time. Like it just don't work like that.
You know what? And I agree. This is the purpose of this whole thing, of why I even wanted to do, you know, created this millennial marriage thing, because it gives us the opportunity to talk about certain things and relate. And, you know, if it is hard times, maybe you've been through something that, you know, I'm going through or we're going through, and you can help us out or tell us how you guys got through it. And I mean, that's good to know, because I have my little moments where I'm like upset with him because I feel like, you know, I blame him, you know, like he's not even trying to take me on a date, or, you know, but it's something that all of us is going through. And I'm like, Dominique and Robert get to go on a date every week. You know what I mean?
That is not true. But you just gotta be understanding of things, you know, because like for him, he's really going hard. He got about 15 jobs. That's number one. And then he's really focusing and going hard on his practice. Yeah. And I understand that. So I don't feel neglected, because I see that he's, you know, working really hard at that. So yeah, it's him that feels neglected. So we can transition into the romance.
To me, it's real simple. You know, you tune in, you talk more, and take turns with each other. So those 3 T's I like to use. So it's always a time to find that time for each other. So me time for me, what I expect is when I get home, I'm away from work, away from the outside, come home, I'm in my sanctuary. So kids, family, all that stuff, me time. So whether somebody having a good day, bad day, okay, whatever, if you just tune in, you know, say, hey, babe, how was your day? Or if I come in the house, you know, I expect the same thing. When we tune in, talk to each other, take turns, interact, you know what I'm saying? You can make any time a good time. Just by that, if you just tune in to each other. But it'd be so, I had this busy day at work, oh, I'm tired, I'm this. So we got our own stuff going on in our heads and stuff like that. And dang, baby, can you take that garbage out? You didn't even take it out earlier this morning. It just little unnecessary stuff, and like the energy that y'all jack up.
They just go by so quick.
Mm-hmm.
And next thing you know, it be 9:30, and y'all taking showers and
Exactly.
you're gonna repeat everything that you just did the previous day. So it like my me time is different from hers because she think my me time is anytime I hit the door. I don't care if I'm going to the gas station. I could be gone for. But it makes it so crazy. She make a run. She be gone for a whole hour. She went to Walgreens.
I'm at Walgreens just walking out.
I said, bro, you just said if you was going to Walgreens to pick up some applesauce for kids. How did that turn into an hour and 15 minutes? Oh, I had to ask the clerk.
And then I come in and he got
No, then I call her. She don't call her. Then I call her. I'm calling right back. Then I call her back. I'm pulling up to the garage. Like, listen, G. I know what you're doing. She probably sitting in front of the house the whole time and just on her phone doing her own thing, which I don't have no problem with because I be knowing that she need that time. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, whenever I want my time, my me time is a waste of time to her. Mm-hmm. I can say that. Because it's just like, you don't need no me time because I always have the kids. This and that. I'm doing this, I'm doing that, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Right. But at the end of the day, I'm at work. I come home, I had the kids too. At the same point in time, like we going back and forth, but I just, like the balance is I don't even say so out of whack. It's difficult because y'all be trying to give each other so much of your time. But then I ain't even say the kids interfere because I don't want to say they interference, but it's just life.
And we all young married. We all millennial married. We've all been married, for a short period of time. We all just trying to figure this thing out. We winning it, when we trying to do our own thing. So
So what I think has worked for Omar and I, which it's not consistent, but in order for us to have me time together, we sacrifice something else, right? So we might take a day off work and go to the movies and go out to eat and really just have a moment to be at home where it's quiet, right? Or we might, if I want me time, I might have to do it, in the evening, stay up late, but he's dealing with the baby. It's a sacrifice for something else.
Yeah. I like that. It's kind of like bittersweet because imagine if you was around somebody all day, every day, then that kind of like interferes with your romance. It's like, all right, I ain't got a chance to miss you yet. I'm bumping shoulders with you all day. So the fact that she works, 2 to 10, and I'm doing it 8 to 4. By the time she come in, it's either one of two things: either I'm sleepy or I'm just all over. So you're either gonna get one or the other. So it's bittersweet, but you gotta take the good with the bad as well. So I think.
Yeah, I know that romance department still trying to figure that out.
I will say that we do get a good amount of dates in though. Like like Camille said, we do sacrifice other things. Like my mom is very territorial. She thinks I'm supposed to spend my off days with her.
I gotta come over there.
We need to go to Home Goods. We need to help her move a bookcase. Like my mom's not coming over this weekend. So we try to do Friday nights. We try to do a date. Right. Or if we can't do a night date, we try to do early breakfast on Saturday.
Yeah. We just date at home, bitch.
We cook a night.
I'm a real big palate person. I'll lay down my big dog pillow and just roll on the floor, pop my popcorn. We just chill.
After being I work outside all day. So after finally coming home and actually being in the house and sitting down and just laying back, like
that's
I'm in my feeling. Man,
just coming home.
I'm in my comfort zone. Like
sitting there.
Safe.
You just need that
family around you. You good? Like it's like a breath of fresh air.
This is nice. When the beer commercial and drink the beer and be like, sit down for that first.
I can't help but I express it with sleep.
But I say this too. It's also knowing which one needs it at that moment. Like I know sometimes he needs it. Like I'm just like,
man, I know. Don't be looking at me like that.
That's the thing. She didn't say I need it, right? So she didn't see me sleep, knowing I'm asleep, and then she come from outside. It's cold as hell outside. Come put her hands on me, put her feet on me, like, man, I know you sleep. Go back to sleep.
But you are the heating blanket that God gave us. That romance department,
like I said, we still working on it. I'm on the farm complaining.
You went from every day, 4-5 times a day to.
See, that's these are things that's fleeting. I want to give you all of me. Those
Like that department is hard. And I didn't know it would be so hard. Why is it so hard?
It's for kids because you like with them, like you gotta plan it.
Yeah.
One thing I hate, like
don't
that's
wanna plan.
the only thing about it
Meet
too.
me in the
Like,
basement in 10 minutes.
only thing I hate playing sex. Like it's like don't tell me, okay, 9:30 we finna have some sex.
That's the word thing, I just told her that last night. I was like, when you play, it turns me on. It turns you off. Like, come on. Because now it seems like it's a job. Playing set all that or scheduling.
Yeah.
So hard. If I tell you stuff, you know, come on. Come on. Let me talk to you that, like,
And I think like the same thing. I said, man, meet me in the washing machine.
And you watch it.
No, they up here. They gonna hear us.